Okay, I want to go into two different things in this video. First on the screen here is a shot from the season 2 finale of the series Tulsa King. Those of you familiar with a lot of the 9/11 research will recognize that this is the Bank of Oklahoma Tower in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when you do some research into this tower, you will find that it was intentionally designed by the same architect who did the World Trade Center in New York City. They built this replica of the Twin Towers in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now keep in mind that this was built before September 11th, 2001. They had this One Williams Center in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma that was a replica of the World Trade Center that would eventually become the One World Trade Center, right? That's just how these things tend to work. One big coincidence. But what I found interesting is in the context of that, they showed this image of One Williams Center, the Bank of Oklahoma Tower, a mini World Trade Center. And then the very next scene was the FBI field offices, wherever those actually are in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And on the screen here, they have power substation locations. They have 4 listed here. And this guy is talking about them and their vulnerabilities. Now, this is very subliminal or subconscious, however you want to view it. It's kind of muffled in the way that he's talking about it. You can't really hear it. It's background noise. But after the scene transpires and the guy comes into the door and says something to the guy who's speaking here, they're kind of fading out of the scene and you hear him saying that these substations are vulnerable for different reasons. I did a video, I think maybe a year ago now, where I went into all of the headlines that are out there trying to prime the mind for this idea that the American infrastructure is very vulnerable to attack. And indeed, it's being targeted by these domestic terrorist organizations who want to accelerate the decline of the United States of America. That's what they say. That's the narrative. So to me, very interesting that in the context of that priming that's being done by the media along those lines, you have this very subconscious association in the season finale of Tulsa King between a replica of the World Trade Center, which is associated with a terrorist act, and then the very next scene is associating that with vulnerable substations. Now, your guess is as good as mine what that means in the grand scheme of things. I'm not here to predict anything. I don't know what the script is. I'm just looking at it after the fact and kind of seeing what they put out there. You can figure out what it means on your own. And indeed, isolated to this one instance, it doesn't really mean anything. This could genuinely be a coincidence. That's typically not how these things work when it involves the media that is presented to us, but we would need many more examples of this type of thing to be able to build an idea about what might be coming in the future, in the same way that you can do it in hindsight when you look at what they presented in the media as it related to the September 11th, 2001 event in New York City, and how that was sort of pre-programmed into the media before it actually happened. So something similar could be going on here as it relates to power substations and quote-unquote domestic terrorism as it relates to that being the new threat, which this mini replica World Trade Center is evoking in the mind subconsciously without any kind of overt explanation. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Just wanted to pass that along. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out was in relationship to this drone story that's all over the news right now. And again, I'm not here to tell you what that is because it's too early. I mean, eventually they will reveal the whole gambit if you are patient enough. So there's no reason for me to guess about what it is unless I was chasing some kind of clout and wanted to be viewed as being able to predict the future or something, as if that would be valuable in any way to me. But it is very clearly a psyop of some kind. I mean, they have made that very obvious. This is from the New York Post today. A New Jersey congressman claimed Wednesday that the mystery drones over the Garden State are from Iran, and they're being launched by a mothership parked off the East Coast. Now, obviously, it's not an accident that he used the term mothership in the context of this story, which has all of this alien resonance to it, where they're really expanding that idea about potential otherworldly influences going on here as it relates to these drones, which is very evident in the people that are trying to get images of them. They have some kind of electronic cloaking ability where people are trying to take pictures of them or videos of them and they obscure themselves, like some kind of electronic camouflage. But anyway, Representative Jeff Van Drew, a Republican, said the drones very possibly could be from Iran. Now, that is the most vague, attorney-like phrase I've ever seen in my life. Very possibly could be from Iran, which means we have absolutely no evidence that this is going on, but I'm just going to say that right now. Citing confidential sources during an appearance on Fox News Wednesday morning. These drones should be shot down, he said, adding that the military is on full alert with this. And that's all part of the narrative here, that somehow the government doesn't actually know what these are. The FBI isn't aware of what this thing, this phenomenon actually is, which is laughable. Of course they all know what it is. Now, I say that it could be compartmentalized in a way that certain organizations don't know exactly what they are dealing with, because that's all a part of the plausible deniability that they embed within the chain of command so that things like this can be believable. But on some level, somewhere, yeah, they know what it is. I mean, come on. But putting those two things together, we can see how it might have been the plan from the beginning to make it very vague what is going on here, so that later one of their Congress members could come out on national television and be all over the internet having made the explicit association between these drones and Iran, as that would help the propaganda narrative going on in the Middle East right now. And I say that because it takes 5 seconds of research to go to Van Drew's Wikipedia page and see that Van Drew is a Freemason at Cannon Lodge number 104 in South Seaville, New Jersey. And you go to the actual link that Wikipedia provided there, and this is from the Cape May County Herald. This is from April of 2018. Joining Masonic officials from throughout New Jersey were 1st Legislative District legislators Senator Jeff Van Drew. So we have confirmation that Jeff Van Drew is a Freemason, and Jeff Van Drew, the Freemason, is in the New York Post and on Fox News, making the explicit association between Iran and this dangerous, strange phenomenon that's going on in the skies over New Jersey. Again, I won't tell you what that means. You can decide that on your own, but what are the odds that this particular congressman was the one who came out today and was making everyone aware of how dangerous Iran is, reinforcing that idea that we should all be very concerned about Iran and what they got going on over there, and we should be concerned to the point where they're even trying to infiltrate the United States airspace with their drones potentially. Now, very well possibly could be them. We can't prove that right now, but very highly placed confidential sources are telling me that it could be this. So, anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because I found it funny. In any event, hope you guys are doing well. Later.